with Mike Tyson, the old legend, as well as Jake Paul, the most infamous and probably one of the most hated people in the world, at least in America. The likelihood right now, sadly, is that Jake Paul will win. It's a disgusting thought. It's a horrid thing to think about, a horrid thing to even have as a notion of what's going to be for this fight. But it's the hard truth of the matter. There is a legitimate cause to say Jake Paul should be the favorite. Absolutely. And as we break down the fight fully, why would that be the case? Well, one is because of the fact that you have somebody like Jake Paul, like I just said earlier, youth and experience, on top of the legitimate power. Every fight he's gone into, he is still a bum. Let's not get it twisted. He is still an outright trash fighter. That's not changing at all. But what will change is now he's less trash than he used to be. And while that may mean nothing in the grand scheme of his actual boxing tenure for this fight with Mike Tyson, that may be just enough only because of the age that we see Mike Tyson at. And with age comes fragility. With age comes a legitimate cause to be concerned about whether he can take a shot, whether he can take a punch, whether or not the power of Jake Paul, even if it grazes him, is going to be something that throws this brother off and takes this brother out potentially. And again, this is crazy to say from Mike Tyson. We have to live in the reality of what we are in today. This is a 60-year-old man coming in and fighting somebody who is 30 years his youthful, hasn't fought since Roy Jones Jr., and before that hasn't fought in 20 years professionally on a consistent basis. Since all of this is whirling around, there's a legitimate reason to say there should be fear. And the biggest thing is, what is it that Mike's going to do when he steps into the ring? How is he going to look when it comes to his ability to box? That's the biggest thing. We see the training. We see the workouts. But what we don't see is in ring, how does all that translate to? Is he still going to be doing the slipping and moving at the same intensity and instinctual ability that we knew him for in the past, that we even see him do while he's in training camp? Is that going to be the same? Or is it going to be that we see this brother when he steps into the ring, another Evander Holyfield situation, he goes in and he looks great. He looks phenomenal. He looks stupendous. But as a whole, he is not there. Just like with Evander Holyfield. The brother was somebody who is indeed was great, is great, absolutely phenomenal. But at the same time, he looked phenomenal but couldn't play the part against Vitor Belfort while he was souped up on drugs. Understand that? Still went through and ran through him. And it was just because coordination wasn't there. The body just couldn't do what the mind wanted to do. That's the fear with Mike Tyson. But when it comes to on the flip side, Mike Tyson, this is why I'm going to pick what I've been going against just about this entire time. This is why I'm picking Mike Tyson to win this fight. This is why I'm doing it. And it's because of two things. One is the experience. You have to understand that this is a man who has seen it all, done it all, and has been through it all. And as a man, he ate, slept, and breathed boxing. He is not just one of the greatest of all time just because, he was the best of his era. In all the annals of boxing history, there were few people that committed themselves to the sport so relentlessly and so ferociously as Cus D'Amato forced Mike Tyson to do. It was all that kept him legitimately from dying. If you've seen Mike Tyson of recently, the brother looks in the best shape since he got out of jail. And I don't say that as just hyperbole. I say that legitimately. On top of the fact that he is now mentally focused to be able to to commit to the fundamentals of boxing without losing himself to the wiles of boxing. With age now came maturity, and with maturity came experience in how to deal with the biggest battle that every person, boxer or not, has to face, which is the battle of the mind. And he was able to not just overcome it, but conquer it. He was able to thrive in it. He was able to make himself the biggest weapon by conquering the main thing that was taking him out. The mental game, the emotional game, the internal struggle. Now that we are with this type of Mike Tyson, who physically looks as great as we have seen him in a long time, even despite him being 60, regardless of age, and on top of the fact that we see that Mike Tyson is now in a mental state where he can control the rage. The old Mike, Iron Mike, the alternate persona that Tyson has said that he has countless times, that he was always afraid of, he said he wanted that part of him to die. He said that that's back. Now he knows how to control it. This is like Bruce Banner being able to control the Hulk and become one, but not Professor Hulk style. I'm talking World Breaker Hulk style, if you know about comics, if you know about the Hulk truly. Not the Marvel version, no, the real version. That man took on every single major hero and dominated them with ease because he was one with himself. Banner and Hulk were on the same page. That's what we're going to see when it comes to Mike Tyson. He can legitimately be able to use everything that we saw glimpses of in Roy Jones Jr., that we saw at his best when he was in his prime, though he's not at his prime in the slightest. We could see that take place and the brother actually get Jake Paul out of it. It is entirely possible. It's entirely possible. That is not something that is out the question. You have to understand, when we look at Jake Paul versus this Mike Tyson, one is experience, like I just touched on. Secondly, fear. There is a fear that Jake Paul has never experienced in his life. There is an aura of domination that people to this day, Francis Ngannou has talked about it. The fear that Mike Tyson brings makes people go below what their level is as a boxer. That's what he does. Because Mike Tyson is fear incarnate. You have to understand that Tyson, even now, is the embodiment of domination and outright paranoia. Fear is both mentally and physically. He has mastered the art of dominating any room. If anybody's a One Piece fan, watch his anime. We've talked about this countless times. Conqueror's Haki. If you can't stand up to the dominating presence and the outright will, you fall flat and you pass out. Boxers have talked about that when they stepped into the ring. Michael Spinks felt that when he was in another locker room getting ready to fight Mike Tyson. This is the same brother who punked Michael Jordan when he was in a club. And this is when Jordan was at the heights of his grandeur. This is what Jake Paul has never experienced before. And in every person that Jake Paul has faced off against in his career, it has always been either A, incredibly below his weight, B, incredibly inexperienced and not even a boxer, or C, if they are boxers, like his last three have been, they are bottom of the barrel, absolute garbage. And I don't say that with disrespect. I say that that is what it is. And the one actual relative somebody in Tommy Fury, he got outboxed it. Even though we understand he's knocked down just about every person he has faced off against. From Ben Askren to Tyron Woodley to Anderson Silva to Tommy Fury. But what you have to understand is that the man still is fighting bum competition that have no way in the world understood truly what it means to be a boxer. That is what he's facing with Mike Tyson. And the fear on top of the knowledge that Mike Tyson presents is something that Jake Paul will feel and will truly regret potentially. That's what we're going to see Jake Paul run into. An outright wall of fear coupled with, finally, execution that Jake Paul has never experienced before. The execution of Mike Tyson, even at this age, if it is the same as what we saw when he fought against Roy Jones Jr., dare I say better, and if it's the same that we see in training camp, and if his body is indeed a physical anomaly that we have seen him as, and is able to make it so that he can do the things that we saw relatively close to what he was even at the tail end of his prime, he's going to knock him out. He's going to do it. He knows how to set up shots. He knows how to set up more than just the right hand that we know Jake Paul only is able to do. We know Jake Paul, while he's got power, he is somebody who, if he's pressured, he's in trouble. This is what everything that we see Jake Paul falter at as a boxer is what Mike Tyson excelled at in making his opponents absolutely quit and get destroyed. This is how I see the fight's going to go. We see Mike Tyson come out in round one, potentially guns blazing, potentially. And he comes in, he pressures Jake Paul from the jump. Jake Paul throw that right hand, and if we see the Mike that we think we're going to see come into this fight, block it, force him to the corner, force him to the ropes, and have Jake Paul for the rest of the night fight on the back foot and get him tired. Because Jake Paul beefed up for this fight. Jake Paul got bigger to fight Mike Tyson. But we all know that his stamina has always been terrible. It's always been hard. He's been a bum when it came to boxing for the long game, even though it's 8 rounds. And we're gonna see this man gas out. And we saw Mike Tyson for 8 rounds going up against Roy Jones Jr. The brother was still right and spry. 2-minute rounds allowed for him to rest, allowed for him to use up his energy without the fear of going out, understanding he's got the stamina. Oh yeah, he's gonna make Jake Paul feel every inch of pressure and have to be forced to either fight back or use his legs, which he can't do. Now we see once he gets on the inside, taking away that mid-range that we know Jake Paul loves to use, that's when he's gonna be in trouble. And that's when we're gonna see the body attack of Mike Tyson delete and destroy the mental fatigue and the physical fatigue that we're going to see Jake Paul have. And next thing you know, by round 4, Jake's in trouble. By round 4, now Jake understands, oh, this is Mike Tyson. This is who my father talked about. This is who the world saw as the baddest man on the planet. And then in round 5, it's going to happen. A hook off of a slip or an uppercut to the body that leads to an uppercut to the head, like the old Tyson combo that was a staple of his. He's going to catch him, he's going to knock him out. And we finally will see, hopefully, the end of Jake Paul as we know it. Of course, we understand that Jake Paul can catch Mike Tyson. We get it. But we don't want it. We don't want to see that. And Tyson has the ability and the knowledge and the physical traits, the mental acuity to be able to understand how to avoid that and take away that. Something that Jake Paul doesn't know how to do. He doesn't know how to take away opponents' leverage. He only knows how to use his own. When he gets forced to that reality, now everything's going to go all downhill. Age, not going to worry about it. Not because it's not a factor, because it is something that I think Mike Tyson is one of the few people in the history of the globe, of this sport, that can truly overcome what should be the biggest dominating factor in why this fight shouldn't even happen in the first place, which it should. This is the reality that we're living in. And hopefully this comes true. And we see Jake Paul done in this sport. Wash our hands clean. And we ain't got to worry about it no more. And Tyson becomes the hero. The vaunted icon that we knew. One more time, Iron Mike came out and accomplished what we all wanted. Lived the dream one more time. And I'm excited for it. And if Jake Paul wins this fight, there will be no credit given. There will be no means to an end to say, oh yeah, this is impressive. You fought a 60-year-old man who hadn't fought competitively in over 20 plus years. And you took this as an opportunity to do the biggest clout thing possible and go against the sanctity and purity of the sport. You are going to be forever villain. We will hate you forever. It just could potentially backfire on you as the worst thing you could have done for your career, for your brand. You're going to be seen as a villain. There will be no respect. You'll be vilified. There's no win-win situation for Jake Paul in this fight. What we want to see is Jake Paul utterly destroyed. If we see that, my gosh, incredible to watch.